Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2025 Kia Carnival Hybrid in the SX Prestige trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 235/55 Continental tires wrapped around 19-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is Ceramic Silver, which I don't really get the silver. It kind of looks more like a battleship gray or something like that, or a destroyer gray. But it's an interesting color. Looks pretty cool, especially with all the gloss black the vehicle has. Now here in the front, has a little bit different styling, and I think it looks pretty cool. Now it has that vertical headlight stack, and I've shown this in other night videos. We're going to do a night video on this vehicle as well, on how well this vertical stack works at night. And you know, it depends on the height of the vehicle and all that stuff as well. So we'll see how it goes. There's also LED fog lights here at the bottom, so there's a pair on each side. It has the camera system. There's one of the cameras integrated into the grille. And you can see the little chrome accents in the grille, gloss black, a little bit of darker gray here, parking sensors across the front as well. And then right in here is the radar adaptive cruise control sensor. There's also adaptive grille shutters down here as well. They'll open up when the vehicle needs more cooling. Look at the profile. So it has the cladding there extending from the front, and then it goes to the doors and all the way to the back. And then we have some gloss black pillars here, even the front pillar, side mirror, bottom portion anyways, gloss black. And then we have this gray color, which we saw in the front, and it has it here, here, and on the upper portion of the side mirror. Now the handles are body colored, but it does have like a chrome type accent here on the top of each handle. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key. Most of the buttons are here on the edge, here and here. And it has the lock, unlock, the ability to open up the power liftgate. There's also a panic button on this side. On the other side is the remote start and the ability to open up the sliding doors on either side. So you can see there's the left side, there's the right side. Now, when you press any one of these buttons, there's a little Kia emblem that illuminates. So you can press that, and you can see it illuminates briefly. Now, there's a physical key separate from this key fob. There's no physical key inside this fob. It's a separate little key that comes on the keychain when you get the vehicle. But as long as you have the key with you, you just walk up, and you can use the vehicle 100%. You lock the doors by placing your hand or your arm or whatever over the sensor. Locks the vehicle. To unlock it, you simply put your hand behind the handle. It has a sensor here. It senses the key on the outside of the door and opens up and unlocks the vehicle. Now the back doors have a physical button here. So you can just push that and open it up. So yeah, really convenient. If you want to, you can always just pull the handle as well. So either way, it's intuitive. So the doors go almost to the very bottom of the vehicle. So that way it covers up the threshold area and keeping it relatively clean. Now the inside of the doors, it has this combination of this blue. I don't know if you can tell. It's very kind of a darker type of blue here, and kind of this material's technically soft touch. It's like an injection molded type Nerf type material. And then you have the hard touch surface here, soft, like a vinyl soft here and here, all the way across. And then you have this handle, but also serves as a little pocket as well. It does have a little rubber mat at the bottom. And then you get the hard touch surfaces down here, here, and you have more of that blue at the bottom. There's a little place to put a bottle and stuff like that. A little bit larger pocket there. Kind of interesting. You can put an umbrella or whatever in there as well. And it has the Bose sound system. You can see one of the speakers here. No, just plastic. Nothing special there as far as the way it looks. There's the threshold area. Power seat here on the passenger side. It does go up and down, go forward and back, and then tilt the back here. These seats are heated. They're leather seats, and they're heated and cooled as well. And so you have the leather here, the stitching, the blue on the outside, and then this tan there in the center. I like the little pattern that the perforations have. Look really nice. They're very comfortable as well. So you can see right here where it meets up with this hard plastic, it has a like a microfiber type cloth. So that way it's a little bit more supple and protects the leather right where it touches the plastic, which is a great idea. So yeah, these are pretty comfortable seats, and I think they look good. They're not overly done. Really good for this type of vehicle. So you can see it has this wide open space, and that's one of the benefits of a lot of minivans is that there's no hump to put your leg over. You just kind of slide in and out. There's a little tiny pocket right here, so not very deep or anything, but you can put something there, I guess, mail or whatever. But yeah, lots of leg room here. A little bit of tapering going on right there. Now we have a hard touch surface here, non-locking glove compartment. It is a felt lined on the inside, looking pretty good. We have more of that gray, and then a blue dashboard. It's kind of like a vinyl type material with some stitching here. And up here is hard touch, non-reflective surface as well. We actually have two sunroofs. We have one here in the front and one there in the back. Both can open as well. Of course, this is the van. The back opening here is fantastic. Lots of room to get in and out. Same thing with the front. The swing of the door is nice. Lots of room. You're not going to bump your head or anything like that. The height off the ground is really good. So a lot of like smaller SUVs and stuff have the same type of height, where it's just so easy to get in and out. So the second row, you see the area here, completely flat floor. And this track goes really forward and back. So you can slide these seats forward and back depending on your needs. You can also fold them down and all that stuff to get them out of your way. But you notice there's a center seat. So you can actually get 3 people here in this area. And there's latch system for car seats on these outer seats, as well as the inner seats. So the inner seat, I don't know if you can tell, not as obvious, but right in this little crevice there, you do have the car seat attachment. Here is more obvious, very easy to see and easy to get to and all that stuff. On the back of the front seats, there's a little bag holder. There's a little net pocket. Now these are hard touch surfaces. There's cup holders here, 12-volt power supply, power inverter. It's only 100 watts though, power inverter. Kind of interesting. Not much you can do with that. There's also USB-C ports here on the sides of each front seat and a little storage cubby there. Right above this, in the second row seat, there's a camera right here. And that's like you keep it on the kids type camera. There's also cabin talk where you can talk to people back here. It projects your voice through the sound system so you can talk without, screaming or whatever. But yeah, there's also a button right here. So when you press this button, that closes the door. But before I do that, just want to show you that right in here, it has child safety locks that you can individually on each door turn on or off. So you just put your just a key or something in there and just push it down for the child safety lock, and then you put your key in there and lift it back up to turn it off. So you can independently turn that on these doors. So if you have an adult on one side, kid on the other, you don't have to lock both of them out at the same time. They will individually be able to be adjusted. All right, so let's go ahead and shut this door using this button. And then on the inside of this door, there is a cup holder at the very bottom. And then there is the power window switch handle here. And then there's a shade in addition to the privacy glass. So a retractable shade here. And then you can lift it up and hook it. But you also have, the handle is not worthless because you have a button. You can still go like that with the handle and open it up. Also a handle here to help you get in and out of the vehicle as well. The rear climate is controlled here, so it's kind of high up. So if you're going to have an adult back here with kids, have the adult and sit in this position so they can adjust it. It also keeps it kind of away from the kids' hands, whatever. So you can adjust the temperature, the fan speed, where you want the air to blow, that kind of stuff. You can see the vents here and there, here in the ceiling, in the floor. There's also some lights and the ability to control the sunroof back here. You can see it right here. Now the sunroof has a shade that covers 100% of the light, and it's just manual. All 3 of these seats back here can move independently from each other. So this seat right here, so let's say we want to have a car seat in one place, we can still manipulate the other seats. So to get to the 3rd row, pull that, and it kind of supposedly spoons up to the front seat, and you have this path right here to get to the third row. Now you notice these seats are quite a ways back, and they can actually go even further back. It's amazing how far they go forward and back, so you can really adjust it to your needs. And the third row here has car seat attachments on the outer seats, but not the inner portion. And there's cup holders here, USB ports, cup holders on the other side as well, USB ports. Now these headrests kind of get in the way with your visibility when they're up. So when you store them down like this, they're not all that great for passengers. So you kind of have to move them up and down regularly to, making them useful. But yeah, pretty decent amount of legroom here. You can see the seats are fairly high off the floor, so your knees are not sticking up in the air so much. The center place right here, you can fold it down, and then you have cup holders there. When you don't need that center passenger space, you can have the cup holders and a little storage area there in the center, which is real convenient for both the second and the third row passengers. Seats can recline as well. So I have this cargo mode for adding to your cargo space. So you can fold those seats down into the floor. I'll show you that in a second. And then you can, prop some boxes or whatever. If you need to keep these seats here and then fold them down like that, you can, prop a box or something like that on top of them if you need to. You can also remove these seats. So one of the other, any one of these independently or all of them, and add to a huge amount of cargo space. When you take out these seats, fold the back seats down, it has a massive cargo space. But you will need to find a place for these seats in your garage or wherever. They're not super light either, so taking them out, have to find a place for them, but you do have that ability. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has roof rails, flat black, kind of interesting on this type of vehicle. There's also a body colored shark fin antenna here at the top. There's a spoiler back here, and the spoiler also hides a rear wiper, kind of interesting. So it's up in here and it kind of swings down and wipes the rear glass. Now this vehicle has a rear view camera system. So here's the rear view camera. So like a rear view mirror, but it's also a rear view camera. Now the only issue with this, the location here, it's in the very center, it's in a high position. It's in a very good position actually for a rear view camera. The only problem is it gets dirty. And since the wiper doesn't wipe over it like other vehicles, or most other vehicles, then you have to actually get out and wipe it regularly. So it's one of those things that you have to just get used to keeping a cloth with you and just wiping it regularly before you get in the vehicle to make sure you have good visibility with that camera, because it is your rear view camera. Now it does have a really cool LED lights back here that goes almost all the way across the entire back of the vehicle, looking nice. And once again, the badges are all blacked out here in this particular vehicle. Now the backup camera is in this center position, which is good, but it's kind of down here next to the tag. It looks a little tacked on, but the fact that it's in the center, I'll take it as a win there. And then you have the parking sensors back here. It also has a feature in which you walk up back here. I have it turned off right now, but if I walk up here with the key and I stand here for a few seconds, it'll beep and then just go ahead and open up the power liftgate for me. And then when I walk away, it'll automatically close down. So if you want that feature on, you can do that. The only problem is if you're walking past the back of the vehicle a lot, it just tries to open it every time you get near the vehicle. So, depending on your needs, it could work, could not. The exhaust is fairly well hidden. Now to open up the power liftgate, you can of course use the key, or there's a button under here, or you can use that smart feature. Now under here is hard plastic. And then there's a little safety there for opening up this manually if you need to. But yeah, just a hard plastic surface there. If you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this is the amount of cargo space you have, which is pretty substantial considering it goes down into the floor really deep. Really nice. And then it has these little shelves here, this area, and a little cubby at the bottom as well, with a significant lip so things don't fall out as easy. Now in here is a tire inflator kit because there is no spare tire on this vehicle. Now if there was, it would be under this seat, under the vehicle. So you would have to lower it on the ground and all that stuff. And then on this side, There's a 12-volt power supply. Once again, a 100-watt power inverter. Not super useful, but it does have it. But on this side, there is no jack. Typically, there would be a jack here for one with a spare tire, but it does have the tow hitch in this little bag right here. But yeah, the one with the spare tire would have the jack and stuff in there and tools. Now it does have some bag holders here. They're kind of high though. So like say you go to the grocery store and you hang your grocery bags there, they're kind of like hanging quite a ways off the floor. So it just doesn't stabilize them. They're like swinging from that hook. So yeah, they're a little bit high. They could be a little bit lower. Maybe some on the sides would be good for as far as like grocery shopping or whatever. But most everything stays in this cargo area, this kind of basin right here anyway. To fold the seats down, it's just simply, you just grab this right here and do just that one number there. Just one handle and one action, and it swings it down right here. So you can do the same thing. You just grab it like that, lift it up, and then use this strap to bring it back up, like so, right there. You can also use that strap for reclining the seat as well. You can see it reclines pretty good ways. So yeah, you can fold one seat down or the other to add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. So when you bring these headrests up, they block your view. So we'll look at that later on, but I'll just go ahead and put one up so you can see what I'm talking about. Closing the power liftgate, there's two buttons here. One to simply just press it and close it. The other one is if you don't want it to automatically close when you walk away with the key. So if you have that feature on and to where it just automatically closes when you walk away with the key, but you don't want it to work right now, you can turn that temporarily off by pressing that button. So let's say you're getting more stuff to put in there or taking stuff out, you can temporarily disable that feature by pressing that button. But in general, you just press that button to close it. The fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it locks with the vehicle. When the vehicle's locked, it's locked. So when we open it up, something's gonna happen, and that is, it's gonna lock this sliding door. So right now, if I try to open this door, it just beeps at me. Let me know that door is locked, because obviously this will be in the way if that door opens. So it's a traditional cap, tether, and a little place to hang the cap while you're pumping gas. And then when you close it, I don't know if you heard that, but it went ahead and unlocked that door again. It puts it back to the unlocked position. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice the floor mat actually hooks in place in two places. So here and here. The other side is just one place. So this keeps the mat straight and from sliding around on you. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, lots of leg room as well. And there is a large footrest here. Let's take a look under the hood. Open the hood, there's a latch right here in the center. Just reach in just a little bit under that A right there. Looks like a backwards N, but it's an A. And then you just move it to the left. So you reach in, move it to the left, lift up. You see what I'm doing right there. Releases it. And you can see there's a seal across the entire front of the hood. There's insulation on the underside of the hood as well. And we have the hybrid system. Now it's a 6-speed automatic transmission with the hybrid system. So it doesn't have like a CVT feel. It actually shifts through the gears. And it doesn't give you like a lot of power, but it does give you improved fuel efficiency. The blind spot indicator is here on the side mirror. It illuminates when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. It also works with rear cross traffic alert as well. Now the inside of the driver's door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So there's 2 presets for the power seats. Power windows here. There are one touch up and down for all of them. Power window switches here. You also have a power folding the side mirrors, and you can adjust them right there. Power seat on the driver's side, but the driver's side always one-ups the passenger side by having something extra. So this one has the 4-way lumbar adjustment in addition to the height adjustment and all that stuff. Now there is a lot of height adjustments here. So if you're short and you need additional height, definitely you should be able to have no problem finding a good position for yourself here. Now to the left of the steering column, there's a fuse box here, dimmer switch for the interior gauges. There's a tow mode, so if you're towing, you want to go and turn that on, let the vehicle know what's going on. And then this is for the traction control off. Default will be on, but if you need to spin tires for whatever reason, you can turn it off here. Then there's a tilt and telescoping steering column that you lock in place here. It does have a pretty decent heads-up display, fairly well done as far as the visibility and clarity and all that stuff. And it's pretty standard among most Kia Hyundai type vehicles, that type of heads-up display. And just has static lines for the lane keep assist system, the adaptive cruise control, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's well done. It's not super fancy or anything, but it gets the job done. But I think it still looks cool. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And yeah, it's pretty much where I would have to have it. I could probably pull it a little bit forward, but you can see there's lots of room here on the sides. Not really resting my knee or anything or bumping my knee on anything. So yeah, my knee's not completely straightforward. So yeah, if you're a little bit over 6 feet tall, probably no problem. But if you're significantly over 6 feet tall, then you definitely want to take it for a test drive to make sure that it's right for you. But there's plenty of legroom for me, and no issues whatsoever as far as comfort and room here. So the steering wheel is actually that blue color like we saw on the sides and different parts of the vehicle. It's kind of interesting here in the center, here as well. It's a heated steering wheel as well, 2-stage heated steering wheel. Has some gloss black. It has regen pedals here on the back. So instead of like paddle shifters, they're just regen pedals. Now it has a cruise control here on the right side. You just press this one button to not only turn the system on, but also set it, which is great. You can adjust the speed here. You can pause and resume with that button. The center of that toggle, you just press it in. And then you have the adjustment for the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you here. You have to kind of cycle through it. And then the lane keep assist system, you can turn that on as well, which seems to work well on this vehicle. Here on the left side, these buttons, I'll show you that in a second. Those are correspond with the screen. But these over here, volume for the radio, change to the tracks. You do have one single button for the phone. So if you have a call coming in, you press it. To hang up, press it again. Mode is the different audio sources, and then you have a voice recognition here as well. If you want to like mute the radio or pause the radio, you can just press in on this toggle switch, the volume. Very handy, intuitive, and everything. Front and rear wipers are here. It does have rain sensing system when you put on automatic mode. Here on the left side is the turn signal, but it also has your headlight switch. So you have off, auto, parking lights, headlights here, and then your fog lights are controlled here. There's a little switch on the back and the front. It kind of toggles, so either way you can do it. There's actually 2 screens, one here and one here. It's actually 3 technically. There's one down here, but this is basically your gauge cluster, which is customizable to some degree. Now it has a digital speedometer right now, and it shows your RPMs there on the right, the status of your vehicle, where the charge or the energy is coming from, and then your fuel gauge, your distance to empty, status of your battery charge, since it's a hybrid, outside temperature. So yeah, it has quite a bit of information. There's your odometer here. But if you want to change the look, here in the settings, you can go to gauge style here. You can go circle or simple. What we had it on before is simple. So there's simple. Let's go to circle. So now we don't have a digital speedometer though. Kind of takes that away. I would prefer the circle, but I also am spoiled with the digital speedometer. Now you also have these different styles here. We're in style A. We could have style B, and we can have style C. Or you can link those to drive mode. So this would be like a normal mode, and then you have eco mode, and then you have sport mode type thing, is what it's basically looking like to me. So remember these buttons here. I call that the pages button, and then this is up and down, and then press in for OK. So that center information where it shows the idle mode, or basically what the status of what's going on with the vehicle. So it's not, when you're driving, it'll actually show whether there's power coming from the engine, the battery, going back to the battery, coming from the battery, all these little arrows and stuff. But if we want to change this information, we can press this pages button. So you can see it's part of a menu system, these 3 different options. So this first one, we can choose go up and down. We get our trips and information that we can reset, engine temperature, tire pressure, and then we'll go back to that energy monitor basically. Second one is the digital compass, and the third one is the lane keep assist system, the driving assist systems basically, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist system, that kind of stuff we'll show here. So if you want to focus on that, you can do that. So yeah, that's kind of interesting to just change whatever you want there in the center of the screen while you're driving, whatever you choose to have. and you can change the view as well, the style of the screen. Okay, so this screen over here is pretty standard across Kia and Hyundai type vehicles. It's the same basic theme. So right now we're in the home screen. So I'm just going to slide through here, show you the different screens here. But because this is all kind of considered the home screen. So this first one is map, like the navigation map. So let's go ahead and select that so you can see what it looks like. And then we can hit this little menu button right here, and we can pull up nearby information, traffic, that kind of stuff. Go back to home. We can go to media here, where you can change your audio source or whatever. The next one is hybrid, so the status of the hybrid system. So the energy monitor, hybrid fuel economy, electric motor use. Kind of neat having those on hand, so you can check them out. So then continuing on, we have the phone, so we can pair different phones. Phone projection would be your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and I think it's plugged in, the Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. I don't think it's wireless on this vehicle. Now you do have a voice memo, which is really handy. So if you're the type of person that like comes up with ideas while you're driving and you want to just, you can't really write it down, so you can hit that and then record a memo. Subscribe to Mike's Car Info on YouTube. So now we have a voice memo. So yeah, really handy. Always coming up with really good ideas while I'm driving, and I need to, put it in a form that I can refer back to and memorize, because I'll forget, Now the passenger view, we hit that, and this gives us, remember that camera I showed you back there, a view of not only the second row, but also the third row. So you can keep it on kids or whatever. Let's go back out of that. Then we have the ability to have weather information, have setup, which is your settings. Vehicle diagnostics, kind of interesting. Takes a second to pull it up. So yeah, we could, get an idea of what's going on with the vehicle if we want. Notifications, HD radio information, service maintenance, tells you when the next time to service. Sports, not sure what's going on with that. So I guess if you keep track of sports, you can look up stuff or whatever. And online manual. So this just gives you a QR code that you can go to an online user manual for the vehicle. So you can pull down from the top and get some more information here. Passenger talk right here. So you can turn that on, and when you talk, it'll project, using a microphone, project your voice to the people in the third row in the back seat. So that way you're not hollering at the windshield when they can't hear you. You can adjust the brightness and have different settings here as well. So you can customize this as well. You can go in here and choose the ones that you use the most here. There's another touchscreen basically, but it is pretty cool the way they use it. Now right now it's showing the climate control. So you have driver, passenger. You can choose only the driver if you'd like, if you're just the driver, lone driver in here. But let's go ahead and turn it on here so you can see what it looks like. There's the temperatures and everything. Front and rear defrosters, fan speed, where you want the air to blow, and all that. Now we can hit this button right here to switch this over to the radio type controls. So we still have some of the climate control buttons, but it's mostly now volume for the radio, tune to the tracks, and then we have these buttons here to quickly go to kind of like different places on the screen. So we can hit media, we can hit setup. Now you notice this little star right here. You can customize that button to do different things. There's one on the steering wheel here as well. So if you want to use that button to go to a particular place on the radio or whatever, you can kind of customize it to whatever you want. Now if you want to swap, if you want it to be dedicated volume knob instead of climate control, because climate control, once you set it, you usually put on automatic and it's fine. But if you want to just have it like this, or either one dedicated, you just press and hold this button and it pops up this menu here. So you can have the returns to the selected display when the other display times out. So you can have that off. It just leaves it wherever you left it. Or you can go back to infotainment, or you can go back to climate. So whatever you prioritize, you can have that option there. Now down here is USB ports. Now this one right here is set to charge. If you press this button, it also has data transfer to the system and charge. So there's times in which I want to plug in a phone and just charge it. I don't want to connect and start the whole setup process for Android Auto and everything every time I plug in my phone. So I can just switch it over to just charge, which I think is great. And now this one is already just charge. You also have a wireless charger here as well, and it'll show you the status of that when you have a phone in there. Now if you press this, it pops up and you can find a 12-volt power supply. Now there's a wireless charger as well. So right here, it's pretty well done. Keeps the phone in place. Tends to charge even with my case on. This is pretty cool. I like the way it has that little charging indicator there. And then this is just a little spot to put some stuff, whatever you want. Cup holders are right here, and has this little rubber mat that you can take out, clean it, put it back in. Here's the shifter, and it's pretty straightforward. It's just a dial. Turn it to the left for reverse, and then to the right for drive, and then the center here for neutral. So you just gently move it over for neutral, all the way over to drive, and then put it back in park here. Now when we put it in reverse, go ahead and do that. The parking sensors are now activated, but also you have a really good camera system. So it has a full 360 camera system. We can see in the front, back, everywhere, and it has active guidelines as well. And the top-down view, everything is just high clarity. I don't know if you can tell, these leaves right here are very clear, and it's kind of like a, not a lot of sunlight right now and a little bit gloomy day, but even then we still have good visibility, and the clarity is just really good. So we can hit this button, we can have different views. Top down, there on the sides of the vehicle, or a super wide view of the rear. We can also have this view where it simulates the vehicle, and we can kind of move it around and kind of get our bearings at certain times. Especially if there's like some stalker or something, you want to look around, see what's going on around the vehicle. So that's the reverse view. Now, if you put it in drive, you can get the front view and the top-down view. Now you can pull this out, and then once again we have the top-down view, full front view, just the front wheels. This is handy because see the front wheels. I'm going to turn the steering wheel. So you can see the front wheels are turning, so you can get a real precise view of where you are in relationship to the curb or whatever. And then you can get a full front view here. I guess at certain times that might be handy. This is kind of like the default view that I would prefer here. There's the drive modes here. So you press that button and it goes to Sport, Smart, Eco. So Smart is pretty much like the normal mode here. It does have an auto hold feature, which will hold the vehicle still, basically hold the brakes for you when you come to a complete stop until you hit the accelerator, like if you're sitting at a stop sign or stoplight or whatever. Electronic parking brake, you lift it up to engage it. It engages the rear wheels. To disengage it, you press and hold this brake over here and press it down to disengage it. So the seats are heated and cooled. So you lift up to go heat, and then you can cycle through the different temperatures. So high, medium, and low. So it's a 3-stage. Same thing with the cool, is down, high, medium, and low, cooled seat. Passenger adjustments for that is here. Now the heated steering wheel is a 2-stage right here, 1, 2, so high and low only. Parking sensors, you can turn those off, that's the on light here. And then that's a button to quickly turn on the camera system. So you don't even have to have it in gear. If you just want to look at the camera system without putting it in gear or anything, you can press that. Which is very handy. I like the way it's right there, easy to get to. Some vehicles you have to go into some menu and everything, and it's just not as useful. This one having that, because when you need that camera, if you're like pulling into a spot or whatever, and like time is of the essence, right? So you need to press that button, like, hey, I need to see something. It gives you that view, and then it helps you navigate where you need to get, navigate quickly without too much fuss. Okay, so there's the armrest. It's kind of rubbery soft, but it is soft. Big enough potentially to share with the passenger, I guess. So let's go ahead and lift it up. So it has this little latch right here, and once you release it, it kind of spring loaded so it doesn't slap back down on you. You can lift it up. It goes right there, which is not completely out of my way, but it is out of the way. I got my business cards in there, but there's a felt lining at the bottom, and nothing really special here other than basically the junk drawer of the vehicle. But you notice this little quick access place right here is really handy. Put a pencil or whatever right there. And there's no dedicated place for wires to go in and out of this. Now there's no connectivity in there, but just in general, some compartments do have the ability to put wires in and out of compartments. This one doesn't have that. Now, right here on the seat, this is the USB port I was talking about, but you also have the ability to move it. So if you need to adjust the seat for whatever reason, you can tilt it, and then you can move it forward and back. So this is handy. You got kids in the back in the car seat or whatever, and they're kicking the seat, and there's nobody in the front. You can, do some adjustments if you need to. It does have an auto dim rear view mirror, but it also has a rear view camera, and I showed you the lens back there, and it works really well. The clarity and the brightness and everything is really good. You can adjust it here if you want, the brightness and the tilt up and down. Probably down a little bit would be ideal for most people. There's also a HomeLink garage door opener control here on the left side as well. Okay, so up here you have the ability to open up the side doors, open up the power lift gate. You can turn off the power doors as well. So if you got kids back there, you can turn power doors off in general. You have individual lights here. Turn on all the interior lights with that button. I'm glad to see that button is backlit. A lot of vehicles don't have that backlit. You also have the buttons for the front and rear sunroof. So you can adjust the sunroof, both the front and the rear from here. So this one button does everything. I'll show you that in a second. Now the visor has a cloth, like a tan cloth material, just like the headliner. There's a clip here. There is a mirror, but there is a light that you have to turn on manually. If you accidentally leave it on and you flip this up, it'll hit that button and turn it off. It's kind of neat. Now it does slide out, and it gives you pretty decent coverage here. Now the way these sunroofs work, it has the shade that covers 100% of the light, which is manual. And then you press up on the button here to tilt it, and then you pull back on it if you want to slide it back. So it's the same thing for the third row. Pull it back again, as far back as it goes. Okay, so I have some seats down and some seats up and some headrests up and some headrests down to give you an idea of the visibility back here. Just kind of looking over your shoulder, it's not really that bad. Now you can see that third row seat headrest does kind of get in the way of that rear window. Now, of course, you have the rear view camera system, so that helps out. I mean, you have a lot of technology actually. The camera system, the rear view camera, parking sensors, 360 camera system, blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert, all kinds of technology to help you, but visibility is still important. So yeah, you want to, if you don't have to have the passengers back there, you could just at least lower the headrest. So you got confirmation visibility there. Now that third, you see that little window back here, that third row window, it does have a shade in it, just like this one does. So that little tiny window back there does have a shade. I forgot to mention that. Now there's something I think is kind of important for this type of vehicle. So a minivan usually associated with families. Well, families have mothers, right? Well, mothers have handbags, and handbags are very expensive. So when you get in a vehicle like this, there is not a dedicated place to put a big handbag or some kind of handbag here in the front around the driver. Some vehicles have like a space here or somewhere under here or something like that. This is like no places like that. So that's something to consider if you have an expensive handbag and you want a place to put it. They just didn't allow for any place to put it other than maybe the floor somewhere. I'm not sure. Or I guess you would have to put it in the back or maybe the passenger seat if you don't have a passenger. But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. It's probably not a big deal to me because I don't carry a bag like that. But anybody that carries a bag around, especially expensive one, you want to put it in a safe place. You don't want to put it in the passenger seat and then you hit the brake, slam on the brakes and all your stuff goes flying, or your bag goes flying on the floor or whatever. So yeah, it's a little bit of a miss. I would say that could be a negative for some people. Now there's times in which the hybrid system and the transmission kind of like gives you a little bit of lag here and there. And it's like, I don't know, when you're kind of zipping through traffic or pulling out and merging, or, pulling out into wherever, parking lot or whatever, especially at low speeds, you can kind of feel that little bit of a lag. But because especially if you come to a complete stop, it turns the engine off, and then sometimes it needs to turn it back on, and then the transmission kind of, has to hunt for gear sometimes. But it's not a huge deal, but it's a little bit strange in this type of vehicle, and also a modern, 2025 type vehicle. Could be a little bit smoother, I would say, a little bit anyway. But overall, driving the vehicle, I've been just driving it by myself, right? I don't have like a big family or anything, so as far as that goes, it's really a subjective thing. I mean, when you go to take one of these vehicles for a test drive, go ahead and bring the family and bring your car seats and everything, and go ahead and fill it up. Go ahead and put the car seats in place, make sure that everything is to your satisfaction, that you'll be willing to do. So that's, minivans are really tough because minivans, because they are intertwined with a family, not just an individual. An individual has certain preferences and they can, be satisfied with it. But you have, with a minivan, since it's family, the entire family is going to have to approve, basically, all the way down to the toddlers or whatever. It has to be able to match your family well. And when it does, when you do nail that when you mesh those needs and desires and everything well, then the vehicle becomes like part of the family. Some people name the vehicle, but yeah, really, it can work really well. It's just a matter of when you're shopping, you make sure that it matches and it's able to satisfy all your needs. And, even if you have to step up another trim level or even, choose another vehicle. I think this one would actually work for a lot of people. It's hard, there's very few things in here that other than handbag is a little bit of a miss, but there's a lot of positives that overlap with other manufacturers, but this one gives you extra stuff like the camera views, and it has a pretty cool styling, heads-up displays looking really good, and it's fairly quiet and smooth and comfortable overall. A lot of comfort features like the heated and cooled seats, the view in the back so you can keep an eye on the kids. So yeah, there's a lot of positives just in the Kia brand, and then they just kind of add those into the Carnival as well. And since it's the minivan, minivans are really handy. I mean, most people try to put off the inevitable minivan purchase when they have a few kids, and they keep buying SUVs and stuff like that. But when you actually get a minivan, it's just go ahead and buy the minivan. It's so much easier when you have car seats and kids and family, especially if you have your family and kids and everything, and then you pick up other people, then you're glad that you have a minivan. The spaciousness and the ease of getting in and out with 2 sliding doors and getting in and cleaning it and just whatever, because you're going to get cleaning it constantly with kids. But so yeah, the minivan is designed for that. So it just makes life a lot easier when you just go ahead and bite the bullet and buy the minivan. Now it does have a satisfying acceleration. Like on paper, the performance is kind of mediocre, right? But as far as like driving it, especially when you're dealing with hybrids, that addition of the electric motor does kind of help out with giving you a little bit more the feeling of power, And so the acceleration is fine. For this type of vehicle, I don't see it's not really an issue as far as being too weak or anything. And the cruise control system has the lane keep assist system, which typically Hyundai Kias work well overall and hold the lane for you nicely. You have the radar depth cruise control that's going to make sure you don't get too close to other vehicles. Potential safety feature there. So yeah, it's just to have that extra certainty that if somebody brakes in front of you, that your reaction time, and it kind of helps you with that as far as slowing down, because it's always with that radar system. monitoring what's in front of you. And the lane keep assist system, especially on long trips. I would say this would be a great vehicle for long trips on highways and stuff. So, because it's so easy to drive. And I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty quiet too. Most of the external noises are kept out, and very little, if any, road noise. So yeah, it's really well done as far as the noise.